morning again. Thank you, Secretary Miller, fellow panelists, and all who could join us today to address the critical and timely issue of corporate identity theft. As the occurrence of corporate identity theft and fraud have increased, we have made raising awareness about ID theft and fraud a priority both nationally and throughout Georgia. It's an honor to serve on the NAS Business Services Committee and the Identity Theft Task Force, which allows us to share our best practices with other states. Our efforts in Georgia include implementing e-government solutions to combat corporate ID theft, raising awareness among business owners and financial institutions about growing criminal activity, also working with law enforcement agencies to help prosecute those responsible for theft and fraud. The primary manner in which the Georgia Secretary of State's office assists victims of corporate ID theft and fraud is by quickly sending information directly to federal, state, and local law enforcement investigators and the Governor's Office of Consumer Protection, who use these documents to help prosecute fraud. We're usually able to provide documents within 12 to 24 hours after a request is made to our investigative office. We have worked with law enforcement agencies in other states, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI to assist with information requests. Additionally, we recently entered into an agreement with the Governor's Office for Consumer Protection to share corporate findings. The Office of Consumer Protection is the state entity charged with investigating identity theft in Georgia. Without ease of access to corporate records, the Consumer Protection was previously limited in its ability to stop corporate identity theft. By providing Consumer Protection access to our database, they have access to corporate filings to investigate complaints of criminal activity and now can perform basic data mining to proactively detect ID theft and fraud. We're obviously very excited about this new relationship. According to state law, our corporations division is an administrative filing agency and does not have legal authority to investigate or prosecute suspected criminal activity. Further, since filing records are subject to disclosure under the open record laws, we are limited in our ability to control who has access to these records. Given these limitations on our ability to investigate and prosecute theft and fraud, we have also devoted significant resources to prevention and education. In fact, one of my first acts in office was to implement an e-government solution in the corporations division, which requires all corporate entities that form or renew online to provide at least one email address. We also strongly encourage entities that renew or form by mail to provide us at least one email address as well. The requirement to provide an email address serves three purposes. It greatly reduces the time Georgia businesses spend on paperwork, significantly reduces costs to the taxpayers of our state, and helps deter corporate identity theft and fraud. A notification is sent to every email address associated with the corporate entity every time a change is made to any field. The notification asks each entity contact with an address on file to review the entity's information and ensure that the changed information was authorized and is correct. Further, a backup security feature permanently stores every email address added to an entity's record. This feature ensures that a person who attempts fraud cannot delete email addresses to block receipt of notifications by the rightful entity contact. I would like to note that many cases we deal with include churches, former spouses, former business partners, as was just talked about briefly before, and others. To increase education about the growing threat of corporate ID theft, we also launched a corporate ID theft resources website. Georgia businesses and individuals can now learn how to protect themselves from ID theft and also learn the best steps that can be taken to help from becoming an ID theft victim.